Hey everyone, welcome back to Bread Box Racing in 4x4. This week, I got some shiny parts to put on the Boxster.
That was about a year ago, back when I still had some hope the original engine might hold it together for another season or two of racing. Unfortunately, flash forwards a few months and you get this.
All these rod bearings look great till you get to number 6, which is completely hooped.
Oh, that's a lot of damage!
And when it came out, if I can separate them, the two halves were nested inside each other. Also, same story in the crank girdle. That bearing got hot enough that it wiped out the main bearings around cylinder 6 and got the crankshaft right properly hot.
So that kind of sucks, but we'll get into how I rectified that in another video. For now, I'm going to show you some of the modifications I did last year, some of which were to try and prevent this. At the end, we'll give you some gratuitous racing footage, and I apologize in advance for a bunch of missing footage along the way.
As you can see, I've got some tube headers for the Boxster. Now these are, box says DNA motoring, but that'll mean they're just the same as all the other eBay ones. But before I put them in, I'm putting on some V-bands. Okay, so we've got the manifold mocked up here. We got the old flange is all cut off. We got the V-band on there. It's just sitting on the pipe right now. So you can see how the V-band's machined, so the tube fits inside of it. So that gives you some ability to kind of wiggle it around and position it on the tube. New oil fill tube, because when we were dropping the engine, we broke the little ears where the bolts mount this thing to the block. So that part is done. We also broke the dipstick tube. So that part's also done. So I've ordered both of those. They came in separate boxes for some reason. So we've got the new oil fill tube on there. We've got a new oil air separator on here. Because the one I had on here sent a big slug of oil through the engine. Thankfully, it didn't destroy the engine and hydro lock, but it almost did. We've got a new water pump and new thermostat. Now, the thermostat is a 160-degree thermostat. Why is that important? Because of this guy right here. This is a oil-to-water heat exchanger. And if you're having problems with your oil getting too hot, that's how it's supposed to be pulling that heat out. Best way to deal with that, drop your water temperature. So, 160-degree thermostat. Allen Engineering found they worked. They're apparently not an uncommon thing. Lots of guys who track them do that and say they've had good results. So, that. And why do I know my oil's getting hot is because I'm getting a lifter tick. Yeah. There. One water pump. No. One thermostat. Yeah, see, well, you might not be able to see it on the video. This one is stamped 83 degrees. And, oh, what's in there? I wonder what that is. What is that? Yeah, that's what I thought. Come here for a second. Check this out. See this stripe here? That is a bunch of pitting in the block. Now, the only reason I could think that it would be getting pitted there is cavitation. That's on the suction side of the pump, so it's not likely getting shot blasted by stuff in the coolant. And the way it's pitted looks like either corrosion, which isn't likely because it has antifreeze. So the only thing that's left is that's got to be some form of cavitation in the water. Okay, so here we've got our 160-degree thermostat. It's made by Motorad. And foiled again. My rear main seal that showed up. I should have opened the box. It's not the right part. The box shows the right part number, but yeah, the part is wrong.
So these are all the part numbers you'll need to do the AOS delete. We've got our 2 block off plates on the right and the 2 gaskets on the left. That one was a little bit hard to see, but there it is. Torque spec for those bolts should be like 7.5, 10 foot-pounds. Okay, so we've got our first block off plate there. We've already got the gasket on it. And it just goes over that guy right there. There it goes. You get those tightened up, torque to 7.5, 10 foot-pounds, somewhere in there. Okay, we got our other side. Same deal as last time. I did have to go in my bolt bin to get those bolts because I misplaced the originals. Like a true genius. Whoops. Why do I always insist on doing things the hard way? Okay. So that's what you do for the block off plates on this. Now, for this thing, I believe we have to keep the vacuum reservoir, but we have to ditch that valve somehow. Still not sure how I'm going to deal with that because I'm not going to have a way to mount the vacuum reservoir. So that'll be fun. Okay, so here we are. We've got the oil baffle. Now this goes in there. It bolts to the other side of the sump there. So I got to get that off and then cleaned up. But once all that's done, I'll be back with you. We'll be ready to put this on, and it'll be time to actually get some stuff done today. Okay, so you can see the baffles in place here. You can see like just how well it seals to the edge of the case is quite good. And this is that part I was talking about. This channel, while the other baffle does have a vertical part here, the oil still has a channel through there. Not a big one, but it does. Same over here. All right, so we got flange sealant. That'll be important. They also give us some Loctite thread locker in the world's toughest plastic bag, apparently. Okay, sorry I couldn't show you actually putting this on here because I only got 2 hands and right now I'm stuck using my phone. But I kind of just pushed it on gently, just far enough that I could get 3 bolts in it, and those would kind of act as like alignment pins as I pushed it the rest of the way on. Now I'm going to use my favorite tool to get these snug. Then we'll put the torque wrench on there. And I believe it's 7.5 foot-pounds. It's 10 Newton meters on all of these, which I think is about 7.5 foot-pounds. And now for some gratuitous racing footage featuring all the modifications you just saw. Enjoy.